Grade 7 Mathematics lesson brought to you by Addis Ababa City Administration Education Bureau in collaboration with Addis Media Network. And I am Buzuna Makonnen. Students, today's lesson topic is Ethiopian income tax, VAT, and turnover tax. So here, today's lesson is Ethiopian income tax, VAT, and turnover tax. Students, after this lesson, you are expected to calculate income tax, VAT, and turnover tax. So now, let's continue the lesson. Tax. What's taxes? These are payments imposed by imposed by government on citizens to generate income, government's income. To generate government's income. So, after that, what does the government do? The government collects the taxes and do various activities like on infrastructure, on housing, on education, on health, and so on. So, paying taxes is important to improve our country's economy. So, we have to pay taxes. So, the next concept we are going to see is, first let's see VAT and how to calculate VAT. So, VAT, this is a tax imposed. It's a tax imposed by government on sales of goods and services, and it has certain rate to calculate VAT. According to Ethiopia, the tax or VAT rate is 15% of the cost of or the price of the commodity. Therefore, here, VAT, according to Ethiopia, VAT rate is 15% of the cost. 15% of the cost. The cost of the goods. So, to calculate VAT, we use this rate, and it is given by this equation. VAT amount, the amount of VAT is given by 15% of the original cost. 15% of the original cost or the cost of the material. So simply, you multiply the cost by 15% and then you can calculate the amount of VAT. So the total cost, including VAT, is given by this. Total cost, including VAT, is equal to, total cost including VAT equal to, original cost plus amount of VAT. plus amount of watt. So these are the equations to calculate watt. So we'll see example for this. Example 1. Example 1. Calculate the amount of watt. Calculate the watt on the cost of the machine, on the machine that costs, on the machine whose cost, its cost, sorry, machine, on the machine, its cost is, this cost is per 50,000. So how do we calculate the amount of watt in this question? Let's see the answer together. As I said earlier, to calculate the amount of watt, simply use this equation. Watt amount is equal to 15% of the cost. Therefore, here, this is equal to 15% of means times the cost of the machine it is 50,000. Therefore, 50,000 times 15%. So when you multiply this, you get this one. 15% means it is 15 over 100 times 50,000. So you can cancel two zeros and you multiply 15 by 500. 15 times 500, this will be equal to, let's multiply 15 by 5. 15 times 5, 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2, 7. This gives us 7,500. That's this 7,500 per it is the amount of watt. So in this question, what will be the cost of the machine including watt? What is the cost? The cost of the machine including watt. So here, the cost before watt is this 15,000, and the amount of watt is here, it is 7,500. Therefore, together gives us the total cost of the machine. Therefore, total cost will be equal to the original cost without watt is this 15,000 plus the amount of watt is 7,500. Together, you will have 57,500 will be the total cost of the machine. Now, we'll proceed to the second example. Example 2. The price of macchiato including what? Including the price of macchiato per cup including what is per 46. So the question is, first find what is this cost before what before VAT and calculate the amount of VAT. Okay, so here, again, let's see this question together. The price including VAT is given. Here we are asked to calculate the cost before VAT and the amount of VAT. So, to solve this equation, first, let's assume the price before VAT to be X. We don't know the price before VAT, so assume to be X. The price before VAT, let the price before VAT is X. So, the next step is, here, this cost 46 it is, the cost, original cost including VAT. So, this is the total cost is given. So, total cost is given to be this total cost, including VAT, or total price is 46. So, total cost is given by its original cost, or cost before VAT, cost before VAT plus amount of VAT. This is the equation. So the total cost is given, the cost including VAT is given, it's 46, so this will be this 46 is equal to cost before VAT is not known, we assume to be X, so let it to be X here, plus amount of VAT is given by this 15% of the original cost. So here we can write in this form, 15% of the original cost. We said the original cost or the cost before VAT to be X. So this is the equation. So we can solve for X. Here, this is 46 is equal to X plus, this it is 0.15 X. This 15% of X means 15 means 0.5. Of means times, when you multiply these two, you get 0.15x. So let's add this. You will have this one, 46 is equal to, the sum of these two will be 1.15x. So this one is coefficient is 1. They are like term, you add their coefficient, 1 plus 0.15 gives you this 1.15. So to find x, you divide both sides by 1.15. You divide both sides by 1.15. This cancels out. So you get that x is equal to this 46 divided by 1.15. To divide this, multiply both by 100, both numerator and denominator. When you multiply by 100, you'll have 4600 divided by, this will be this 115. Now, when you divide this, let's divide it. Here, 4,600 divided by 15 is 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2 is 6. 4 times 1 is 4. No remainder, just put 0 here. So when you divide this, you get 40. Therefore, here, the price of macchiato before VAT is 40 birr. So, what will be the amount of VAT here? In this case, the price including VAT is 46. The price before VAT is 40. So the difference gives you the amount of VAT. Therefore, the amount of VAT is equal to this, the total cost including VAT minus the price before VAT gives you the amount of VAT. So this difference gives us this 6. So this will be the amount of VAT. That's it. Now we'll proceed to the next concept. The next concept is this turnover tax. So here, a merchant who is not registered for VAT will be registered to collect turnover tax. If the annual income of a given merchant is less than 500,000, that merchant is registered to collect turnover tax. So, in Ethiopian context, turnover tax its rate is this 2% on goods sold and service rendered locally. So here, to calculate the turnover tax, its rate is this 2%. So turnover tax, its rate in Ethiopian context is this 2%. And who will pay turnover tax? It's a merchant whose annual income is less than 500,000. So let's see example for this. Example. The daily income. The daily income of Almaz Stationery is 1,000 birr. 1,000 birr. If the stationery is opened for 240 days in a year. 240 days in a year. Then calculate the turnover per tax payable. Turnover tax payable by Almaz. Okay, this is a question. Here, the stationery's daily income is 1,000. And this stationery is open for 240 days. Assume this 1,000 is daily income. So for 240 days, the income for 240 days will be this 1,000 times 240. So here, the income of the sales for Almaz Stationery per year will be income per year will be, this stationery is open for 240 days. Per day, the income is 1,000. Therefore, the total income will be, it is, the product of the two, it is 240,000 birr. This will be, it is, the annual income of Almas Stationery. As you can see, this income is below 500,000. So Almas is able to pay turnover tax. And according to our country's rates, turnover tax is 2%. So 2% of this will be payable as turnover tax. Therefore, here, turnover tax will be equal to turnover tax. This will be equal to 2% of the total income, that is 240,000. Therefore, when you means multiplying, therefore 2% means this 2 over 100 times 240,000. So these two zeros cancel out, and when you multiply these two times 24 is 48, and how many zeros? 2 zeros. So the turnover tax will be, it is 4,800 birr. This will be the answer. Now, the next concept is calculating employment tax or income tax. Employment tax. Okay. In this case, we have rates to calculate the tax amount. So, first let's see the rates and then we'll proceed to the example. According to our country, the employment tax rate is as follows. Here, salary range for salary or for this salary range, you have tax rate. So, for a salary ranging from 0 to 600, the tax rate is 0%. For this interval of salary, no tax is paid. So the next range is, it is from 600 to 1,650. For this range, 10%. For this interval of income, by the way, for this interval of income, the percent you have to pay is 10% of this portion of income. And the next range from 1,650 to 3,200. For this range, you are expected to pay 15% of this range income, not for total income, for income ranging on this interval. Okay, next, for income ranging from 3,200 to 5,250, you are expected to pay 20%. Okay, the next range from 5,250 to 7,800, you are expected to pay 25%. The next range from 7,800 to 10,900, the tax rate for this interval is 30%. Now, above 10,900. The tax rate for this interval of money is 35,000. So based on this, this is our country's income tax rate. So based on this, we'll see how to calculate income tax. Okay, the first example. Example 1. Calculate the income tax on their 3,000 on their 3,050. Okay, let's see how to calculate the income tax on 3,050. Look, to calculate the income tax, you divide this income into different intervals. This 3,050, a certain portion of it is found from 0 to 600. Next to that, a certain portion of this income is found on this interval from 600 to 1,650. Again, a certain portion is found here from 1,650 up to 3,050. So this portion will be found on this interval. Therefore, you have to calculate the taxes for each interval, and you calculate the total tax should be paid. Therefore, now here for interval 1, let's assume to say tax 1. This is for interval 0 to 600. For this, 0% of the difference, it is 600 minus 0 will be paid. This will be 0. For this interval of income, the tax paid will be 0. Now we'll proceed to the next portion. Tax 2. For this interval, the tax paid will be 10% of the difference, okay? On this interval. So you have to calculate the money, the tax 10% of the interval of this income. Therefore, tax 2 will be 10% of the difference of the two. Thus it is 1,650 minus 600. So on this range, the income tax paid will be this amount. Let's calculate it. This will be 10% of the difference of these two will be 1,050. The difference of these two gives us 1,050. So 10% means 10 over 100 times this one. 0 cancels by 0. This also cancels. 105 times 1 is 105. So for the first portion of income, no tax is paid. For the next interval, the tax paid will be 150. Now let's proceed. The income is 3,050. So 3,050 is here. So on this interval, the income amount is a difference between 350 and 1,650. So for this portion, the tax paid will be 15%. Therefore, tax rate will be 15% of 3,050 minus this one will be the income which is found on this interval. 3,000 minus 1,650. So this will be equal to this 15 over 100 times, let's take the difference of the two, 3050 minus 1650, 0, 0, 10 minus 6 it is 4, and 2 minus 1 is this 1. So this will be this 1400. So this will be equal to, just cancel zeros, you have 15 times 14. Let's multiply these two. Okay, here 15 times 14. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 1, 4, 6. 1 times 5, 5. 1 times 1 is 2. 0, 6 plus 5 is it is 11, 2. 210. Therefore, the total tax payable will be on the first interval 0, on second 105, on third interval 210. The sum of these three gives us the tax should be paid. Therefore, total tax paid, total tax will be this 0 plus for the first interval, for the next interval is 105, plus for third interval is this 210. The sum will be 315 will be the tax should be paid. That's it. Now, we'll proceed to the next example. Example 2. Calculate income tax on salary of, calculate income tax on salary bill on bill 2000. Please students on 2000. Please students try this question. I'll give you 1 minute for this. Okay, students, have you tried the question? Very nice. Let's see the answer together. Look. Here, the income is 2000 birr. It falls on 2000 birr, falls again on third interval, on this interval. So, we calculate the income tax on each interval. Therefore, on the first interval, tax 1, let's say. Tax 1 is for the interval 0 to 600. For this interval, tax 1 will be, it is 0. It's 0%. So, for this interval of income, no tax will be paid. So, next, second interval. Second interval is it is from this to this 600 to 1650. So on this interval, the tax paid will be this 10%. So 10% of the difference of the two, it is 1650 minus 600. Therefore, this it is 10% times the difference is this. This is 1,050. 0 cancel out again this one. So on this interval, the tax paid will be this. It is 105. Again for the interval. The next interval is from 1,650 up to 2,000. The income is also on 2,000. Therefore, on that interval, what will be the tax amount? It is 15%. Therefore, it is 15% of the difference of 2,000 and this one. 2,000 falls here, 2,000. Therefore, it takes the difference of the two. Here, it is 2,000 minus 1,650. So this will be equal to 15% times the difference of the two will be this 350. So cancel 0 by 0 and you have this 15 times 35 divided by 10. Let's multiply these two. 15 times 35. 5 times 5, 25. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2, 7. 3 times 5, 15. 3 times 1, 3 plus 1, 4. 5, 12, 5. So here, this will be equal to 5 to 5 over 10. And this gives us this 52.5. Therefore, the total tax amount will be the sum of each 0, 105, and 52.5. Therefore, tax amount will be equal to this 0 plus on second interval, 105 on third interval, it is 52.5. So this gives us 157.5. This amount of birr will be paid as a tax. So that's it. This is all about today's lesson. So I'll give you exercise for you to try it at home. Exercise. The price of TV before VAT is the price of TV before VAT is 40,000 birr. Then A, calculate the VAT amount. Calculate the VAT amount. B, calculate the total price including VAT. The total price including VAT. Second question. Calculate the income tax on salary of. Calculate the income tax on salary of birr 7,200. So this is all about today's lesson. I'll give you 1 minute to copy the question. Until next lesson, goodbye.
Hey,
Hello.
how you doing?
I'm alright, thank you.
What's your name?
My name is